I didn't know that. So here I go. I was asked, I'm sort of a pitch hitter too. Frances Long actually said that she wouldn't be able to do this. She is a very dear friend of my sister Connie. And so Frances asked me, and I said I would love to. I didn't tell Mike this either, but we have a friend that works with when you have depression and
grief counselor.
And grief counseling. And he was teaching a class, and I wanted to do him a favor. I know when death is near, everyone deals with it a little differently, and we have 2 sons, and my oldest son spent many hours with my sister Connie. My younger son had a very difficult time, and so we needed to seek out some grief counseling. And in our search, our very good friend helped us find someone. And so when this friend of ours was teaching a grief counseling part of his class, he asked me to come and speak about hospice. That went for an hour, Mike, because I couldn't say enough about it. But I did write it down, and I wrote it big so I don't have to use my cheaters. So, my name is Paula, and I was asked to speak of my experience with Our Lady of Peace, which began in August of 2013, with my sister Connie being admitted, and though it is still hard to sometimes talk about, I am honored to share a little bit of my family's history. Connie was the oldest of my 6 siblings. She was my big sister who hitchhiked across the country and left home to make it big in New York. I was a city bumpkin who was afraid to go anywhere. I didn't drive till I was 22. But then again, I was child number 5, so there really wasn't a car to share anyway. But I still wouldn't have had courage to go across the country hitchhiking like she did. Connie was the leader of our family. She taught us to pitch in, to get things done, to cheer each other on in our sports, and support and encourage each other in whatever endeavor we decided to undertake. And my sister Connie, she undertook some great things. She did luge, ran marathons. My sister Connie was someone that I just looked up to so much. Being 9 years older than I was, I just looked up to her. She went out to New York. I went to New York once to run a track meet, and she met me at the airport. And to get to her apartment, there was a section in New York that she'd say, "Run!" because it was like you were going to walk and have a good time in that area. She would eventually share time between New York and a lake home in Wisconsin she bought for the family to share and enjoy. She wanted to be a part of our lives and our growing families. Connie was an aunt as well as a second mom to my boys. She was the patient, loving one when I was so exhausted I couldn't think straight, let alone be patient. Aunt Connie was artistic, a beautiful seamstress. She made my sister's wedding dress. She made coats, children's clothes, dolls, just a few of her many creations, and a terrific cook. But she was also the family general. And I'm not kidding. When she said jump, we said how high. I mean, just do what she says. Don't get her mad. Stay out of the kitchen. The boys learn, stay out of the kitchen. The girls can take the heat. We'll just get up. Connie was diagnosed with colon cancer right after Christmas in 2011. She didn't want to talk about the future. She did not want to be sick. She faced the grueling treatment and the terrible march of the disease with such strength, but also with a familiar stubbornness. Living with her boyfriend in New York, she got increasingly more frail, and she dealt with terrible pain. Travel became virtually impossible. George, her boyfriend, was her sole caregiver, and he was as devastated as we were. We wanted her to come home, but she just didn't want to face that she was dying. Connie was suffering, and if she were to come home, she would not have insurance to cover any medical costs outside of New York. But we all knew if we didn't act rather quickly, it would be too late to bring her any peace or comfort at the end. It wasn't fair that George was shouldering so much of the load. He was exhausted. We wanted her to feel all our love, and hopefully she wouldn't feel as afraid and alone. It was time for us to be leaders for Connie. We owed her so much. So I want to just go from my notes from here. It was, I flew out to New York. My parents took care of the medical airplane. And I'm not kidding you. I have a few things in my purse to help me remember my often. But if any of you know the Serenity Prayer, of course you can't read it without my glasses, but I know Serenity. I have a little angel that I hang by my bed, and I'm telling you that prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, that I cannot change, the courage to accept, to change the things that I can, and the knowledge to know the difference. And I'm telling you, that was I said that over and over in New York. It was like I was on a mission. I had a plane trip for one way, and I was going to come home on that medical plane, and by God, I had to do it in 2 days because we knew that it was time. So I needed to go and convince her that this would be a good thing. And she only knew of Our Lady of Peace when it was Our Lady of Good Counsel. My grandfather had died there, but that was pretty much the only thing she knew about that. So with the guidance of Matt Stafford and Mary Tillman, I was able to bring Connie back to have her final days surrounded by George and our family and close friends here at Our Lady of Peace. It was such a blessing to have our whole family here, to have our whole family here with her. I have so many wonderful memories of Connie's 2 weeks that she was at Our Lady. I'm sorry I have to read from the paper just so I stay on track, but I can't say that it wasn't very sad and difficult to see Connie. It was especially hard for my mom and dad, who really didn't know how sick Connie had been. But it was such a peaceful, grateful feeling that overcame me every morning when I entered the grounds of Our Lady of Peace. It was summertime. The gentlemen were working on painting up the fences. The lawns were done. The flowers were everywhere. The little fountain was going. When Connie arrived, she still didn't want to give up her fight, but that was okay with the staff. Connie was even allowed to try to make it to the bathroom on her own when she wanted, if she would use the walker. They allowed Connie to come to terms with her sickness in her own way. When we arrived at Our Lady of Peace, the first thing she noticed was a handmade quilt. She thought maybe I made it. No. The second thing that made her very happy was she was offered a choice of dinner. And that was after the best root beer float. That was me, and I'm not kidding. The look on her face when she got that root beer float, I will remember forever. Back in New York, she could barely eat, and at Our Lady of Peace, she was offered dinner that tasted good. I was just giddy at that point. I wanted to just hug the kind, loving staff that was immediately putting my worries to rest. Everyone deals with pain and suffering in their own way. Connie was so very private, many of her friends didn't know she was sick, but that was her way. She may not have wanted to have people know she was suffering. She was the one who was always looking after and making sure everyone else was okay. The staff at Our Lady of Peace was always so kind and gentle with Connie. They heard from us that fashion had been a big part of her life, so they went out of the way to help her look her best. Pajamas we brought in the first day were whisked away to be sewn so she would be comfortable in them. Lipstick and her favorite perfume filled the air. My oldest son had his apartment across the street, so he would spend late evenings by her side talking with her, or just sitting quietly by her side. It was peaceful and comforting. My mom and dad would have never gotten to say goodbye if we weren't at Our Lady of Peace, and for this I am forever grateful. She was surrounded by loved ones, and that is all we could have asked. We were able to hug and kiss her goodbye. Connie had the most loving, gentle care here on earth from those at Our Lady of Peace. It is a memory that brings comfort to my heart, and it is because of this that I gratefully and humbly support Our Lady of Peace. I hope if you are able, you will consider supporting Our Lady of Peace, so that someday if you know someone in need of end-of-life care, Our Lady of Peace will be here for them. I'd like to add a quote from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Our Lady of Peace staff makes one feel at peace.